Hello everyone, this is Darcenovia here. This is my review on Dark Rendezvous, which is the last of these novels, at least one of them that were released prior to Labyrinth of Evil. I'm going by not chronologically, I'm talking about in terms of published order. And this story is interesting because even though Yoda is one of the big focus of the story, he isn't the protagonist of this story. And of course, it could go multiple ways for these books. You could have a Says It's Deception, which is boring. The dialogue and the writing is just blah. Or you could have a book that is really good, like the MedStar duology. Where does this stand? Well, I will tell you at the end of this review. Now, considering the fact that George Lucas was very strict on, authors writing about Yoda, I'm actually surprised this novel saw the light of day. I'm pretty sure the only reason why is because Yoda isn't the lead character. There's no chapters that focus on Yoda from his perspective, so we don't get to get inside Yoda's head and know what he's actually thinking. Which, that's a good thing. It adds more mystery to the character. At the start of this story, it's revealed that Count Dooku wants to negotiate a peace, which we all know it's a trap. We all, really, considering Revenge of the Sith, is right around the corner when this novel was released. There's no way they're going to negotiate peace successfully. Now, the main characters of the story are actually young kids who are a very young age, around 13 to 14, which something that a lot of Star Wars fiction doesn't really get into very much. It doesn't really show us the effects war has on a child, because we know how it affects civilians, we know how it affects soldiers, but we don't know how it affects a Jedi apprentice. Like, how do they deal, you know, with with these wars? And one of the characters has visions of his death that's coming up in Revenge of the Sith, and another one of these characters, she is very weak in the Force, and she's afraid of not making it to Jedi knighthood. Of course, this is one of the last novels that features Anakin as a Padawan, even though in this book it's not explicit that Anakin is still a Padawan. He hasn't been knighted yet. Now, there isn't as much action in this novel. Majority of this novel is building up to the to chapter 11, where Yoda and Dooku finally meet face to face. And one of my favorite, passages in a Star Wars novel, which I'm going to read out loud, is, is okay. Sorry, I gotta look for this. At this moment, Yoda turned, and Dooku asked whether it was a play of the miners beaming their viewers of black space and distant battles, or some other trick of the light. Yoda's face was deeply hidden in the shadows, molded black and blue, so for one instant he looked exactly like Darth Sidious, or rather it was Yoda as he might have been, or could yet become, a Yoda more rotten, a Yoda whose awesome powers had been ultraly unleashed by his connection to the dark side. In a flash, Dooku saw how foolish he had been, trying to urge the old master to the dark side. If Yoda ever turned that way, Sidious himself would be completely annihilated. The universe had yet to comprehend the kind of evil that a Jedi Knight of 900 years could wield. From the shadows, Yoda spoke, disappointment. Like, not, apprentice, he shuddered as he wicked voice. Give me my rose. Of course, I kind of didn't read it very well, the last part. Not very good at reading out loud, but that passage I thought was pretty good. One of my favorites, because this passage gives us a glimpse of what a dark side Yoda could potentially be like, which is kind of scary in a way. And could it be that Yoda once gave in to the dark side in his youth? Who knows? And that's one thing I really do like about this novel. It doesn't give us more about Yoda. It actually increases the mystery. Did he once give in to the dark side? And yeah, the ending of this novel, I thought was great. And is this my favorite novel of these? If I had to be honest, my favorite is Shatterpoint. Shatterpoint, I felt, you know, we got to read amongst the grittier side of war. Mace Windu was a badass in that novel. And not to mention, it was action, from beginning to end. And not to mention, getting inside Mace Windu's head from, in his journals was a great way to learn more about the character. The Sezich Deception is one of the worst books I've ever read in Star Wars, and I never want to revisit it again. Jedi Trial, I would have preferred it to be more about Anakin, but it does give us a glimpse of how strategy and war works and war planning. So I think it's a pretty enjoyable story. MedStar is Star Wars meets MASH. I think it's a good story. I thought the characters were well developed. And Dark Raw of You. Where would I put this? I would probably put this as my second favorite after Shatterpoint. Yoda is an interesting character to read about. Despite not getting very much about Yoda in this novel, we don't learn more really about him. And it's a good thing. Unfortunately, another novel, Escape from Dagu, was canceled in the favor of this novel. But come on, let's be honest. What is a Star Wars fan going to be more interested in? A novel about Shakti or a novel about fucking Yoda of all characters? I think fans like myself are going to be more interested in the latter. It's unfortunate that Escape from Dagu was canceled. It probably would have been an amazing novel as well, but this was pretty good. It's a standalone story, which I think is a good thing that works in its favor. I give this a good rating. I don't think is as good as some of the other books in the multimedia project, but I think it's solid, and I highly recommend it. This is Darcenovia, over and out. Next time, when we talk about the novels, I'm going to review the second, or technically the third, if you count the novelization of the Clone Wars movie, the third of the TCW tie-in novels. Peace out, everyone, and may the Force be with you.